right. Good morning, guys. It is August the 14th. We're right smack dab in the middle of August here. It is Ben at 10, meteorologist Ben Peine. This is your weather show and nature and whatever community show here for Southern Indiana and beyond. Of course, we're going to look at Kentucky as well. And we'll look at the tropics. We'll look across the United States. So we'll take a look at the big story that might be next week. And of course, that would be the long range outlook. And what we call that is this. So we may take a long look. The weather looks better the longer out we look, and we're going to explain that here in just a second. And by that, I mean this right here. Here's a look at your weather headlines for our August the 14th. Mostly dry today. Give it about a 10% chance of an isolated pop-up shower. So most locations will not see any rain. Typical heat today, near 90 degrees. Hotter this weekend. We've got a heat wave on the way. That means some mid-90s for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And then we're looking at some relief by late next week. That relief might come in a couple stages. It might be a little bit late next week and then some big-time relief the following week as we head into around the 25th, the last week of August. So far with the long-range weather models is looking pretty good for us. We've got a good morning popping in. First one on here, Orlean Whitlow. Thanks for the well wishes, and you have a great day as well. Here's a look at that play ball forecast for today. Hot and mostly dry again, 86 at noon today, 90 for the afternoon high, and 82 at 8 p.m. The humidity is not out of control. It is kind of typical humidity out there, and the wind is going to be light and variable. So also with this play ball forecast, let me know what sport you want behind there. I've kind of got a mix of tennis and pickleball. So let me know what sport you are into, and we can drop it in there for you. All right, let me bring up something else here for us as we take a live look at the radar and satellite. Really quiet conditions across the region right now as we expand out close to showers down over South Carolina and up into the upper Midwest, into the Great Plains there, kind of on the Iowa and Nebraska border. And as we zoom farther out, we are looking at Tropical Storm Erin out here, which is right in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean right now. So got maximum winds around 58 miles per hour. Need that to get to 74. And then that will be up to Category 1 hurricane strength, which that's forecast to do here over the next couple of days. And then that storm is supposed to stay north of San Juan, Puerto Rico, and then stay off the east coast of the United States, likely to become the first major hurricane of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season as we approach the peak of hurricane season, which is mid-September. So plenty to talk about. Again, next week is what I'm looking forward to, late next week. And really the following week is when a lot of the long-range data is showing some big benefits to our change in a weather pattern on the way. Sunny skies. We look at uptown New Albany here at the corner of Market and Vincennes. Not seeing a cloud in the sky here at the moment. So off to just a warm and humid start to the day. As I bring up, again, the radar and satellite, we're going to also bring up, look at extolmag.com/weather. You got a lot of weather resources right here. Your interactive radar on the right side, 3-day forecast, 7-day forecast, current temps, which shows 73 degrees, the weather story there. I was talking yesterday about the relief late next week, and then the big full screen interactive radar. And there's, again, not much happening on the radar. Now, west of Bowling Green, there's a tiny little shower. And currently looking at temperatures here in the mid-70s in most locations, 81 downtown Louisville, 75 New Albany. So mostly here in the mid-70s as we get started here on this Thursday. Happy Friday Eve to you. Thanks for watching, by the way. If you're tuning in from Facebook, my page, Meteorologist Ben Peine, Extol Weather on Facebook, Extol Media on YouTube, or extolmag.com/weather. And if you're on the YouTube, thanks for slapping that subscribe button right there As we're getting more folks to tune in, we are going to check the comments section. We've got a good morning here from Perry Porter with my coffee. Here you go. There's Big Happy in here this morning. Straight dark roast here with my Yorkie out, and they started chasing 3 deer. Oh, that's an exciting morning. And we've got Lily and Lasley. Good morning. Have a wonderful day. Try to keep cool out there. Be nice to take a dip in the little pool today. Jeanette Pierce, looking forward to the upcoming weather. Have a great day. It is nice to have something good to look forward to as we get towards the latter stages of summertime. Might start to see more and more shots of relief heading our way. Again, right now, crossing our fingers, last week of August looks really good. Teresa Logston, good morning to you. Oh, look who's popping in the comments section. We've got Hannah Peine. Good morning. I hope you're feeling a little bit better, and hopefully you got to sleep in a little bit. 10 a.m. She's probably waking up right now. Thanks for tuning in, Hannah. Former Extol employee here at Extol Media. All right, moving right along here on this Thursday morning. Everybody say hi to Hannah. Hi, Hannah. In 1 week, less than a week, we're moving her in to IU Bloomington. So hopefully some good weather for that day. Lions Roofing. We want to give a shout out to our partners here. That's why we can be here with you, and 100% because you are here. 812-294-3595. You can get a free estimate online as well. Lions Roofing CO, lionsroofingco.com. Protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime, not only here in Southern Indiana, but also over in Kentucky as well. Again, that number is 812-294-3595. Might have to connect with an insurance partner if you have storm damage or if you're in an accident, whatever it might be. If you're looking for some insurance, not happy with who you're with, I recommend Michael Long here with American Family Insurance. Almost all 5 stars there. You don't see this many reviews for many businesses. 163 reviews right here. Proud to be an American Star Certified agency. I always fumble that. American Star Certified agency. Excellence in customer experience. And you can find all that he has to offer you right there. We've got cars, a cabin, our house, side-by-side covered. So he's got you covered here. Give him a call, 812-578-3072. Let them know that I sent you as well at amfam.com, and just search Michael Long, and he's right there. Lots of available employment opportunities, by the way, here at Libs Paving. They are the largest asphalt paving contractor around. They do concrete as well, of course. And if you go to the careers section, they've got some big-time job openings. You can apply now there at libspaving.com. And you can level up your career here at Ivy Tech. Their fall sessions begin August 25th, and they've got a new program, by the way, that you can learn about, the ETC, the Enlisted Training Corps program, where they are going to train you in public service or military service. And then if you graduate with an associate's degree, you can be enlisted at an E4 designation in the Army or National Guard, and that gives you a 30% pay bump above the typical enlisted level there. So there you go. Looking live here at the Falls of the Ohio Foundation.org camera. I always like to take a look live here. It's a clear sky on both sides of the river this morning. We also have a good morning from Mom and Grandma. The family's watching here this morning. Great start to the day. It's always great when you're tuning in too as well. Love you guys. Peggy Sipes, good morning. And Ron Washburn, my old neighbor. Good morning to you, sir. He got tired of it. He got tired of the Pineys and had to leave the hill. Hope you and Terry are good. Good morning to you guys. And Laura DeVore, good morning, weather family. Oh, I love that. It's our weather family here tuning in. On a pretty quiet day, again, we're going to be mostly dry across the region. We're going to get into that forecast. Love popping up the comments, taking little comment breaks every now and again. We're digging into the forecast, then we're digging into the weather model data. Typically, it's around 10:15, 10:20. We start to fire up the weather models. We'll go bent on a limb. We'll look maybe a week and a half out to the big-time relief, some Canadian air when it might arrive. I think, again, if you're just tuning in, I think we're going to get that relief in 2 phases. a little bit of relief late next week, and then maybe a big shot of some fall-like air by the following week around maybe the 25th. So there we go. Ron, miss you guys. Miss you too. Missing the fish fries, hanging out in the bonfires and all that good stuff. All right, let me bring up that forecast since we just talked about it. And just a reminder, as always, you can connect with me. If you have a weather question, if you want to see a weather map, if you whatever, you got a weather question, Ben at extolmag.com. Or if you want to join us for marketing or advertising sponsorship solutions, you want to see your logo on our content, we can make that happen. Ben at extolmag.com to learn more about all of that. Again, we've been hitting well over 1 million views per month just on my page. Of course, we're on YouTube, we're on Threads, we're on Blue Sky, we're on X, Extol Media. We're all over the place, so give us a shout there. And the forecast headlines for today, mostly dry and hot today. I would give it around a 10% chance of an isolated pop-up shower today. A heat wave this weekend, mid-90s, feeling like over 100, and then relief on the way late next week. The play ball forecast. Again, let me know in the comments if you want to see a different sport. Maybe we might have to put football back here for the background because high school football, I believe, starts off next Friday. And then we get college, and then we get pro. So heading into football season here. Let me know what sport you like, and we will change it up. So around 90 degrees today, light and variable wind. And this is what we're kind of the teaser for late next week. This is Thursday, August the 21st. Look at the wind direction arrows. This is called cool air advection, CAA. In the fall or winter time, we would call this cold air advection. Hard for me to call it cold air advection because it's not going to be cold, but a little bit cooler. So that's that flow in from the Great Lakes. You can see the tropical air getting pushed a little bit farther south. So that's kind of a preview of what we're going to look at with the long range data here in just a second. So it's going to be hot out there for the Knobs Fest, but there are ways for you to cool down out there. St. Mary of the Knobs, up in the Knobs. So Saturday's the big day. Sunday, they still have a bunch of activities. Saturday, August the 16th, this Saturday, 5:30 p.m. to midnight. So in the evening time, you've got your select games and pull tabs, live music, the Juice Box Heroes, beer garden, food trucks. You had me at beer garden, gambling. They got Big Six, blackjack, tethered hot air balloons. Then Sunday, 11 to 3, the famous chicken dinner, kids zone, games of chance, games of skill, pull tabs, raffle drawings at 3 o'clock, food and ice cream outside. If you want to learn more about the big event, Knobs Fest, 812-923-2495, or you can go to www.yoursmk.org. And the Kentucky State Fair kicking off tomorrow, the 15th through the 25th. Very hot this weekend, feeling better next week. So if I were planning my visit to the Kentucky State Fair, this is just me. You can go whenever you'd like. Of course, they've got indoor AC for a large portion of it, but I would pick late next week for the Kentucky State Fair, right after the Indiana State Fair is wrapping up. We've got a couple more comments popping in before we look at some more forecast data. It's time for a coffee, cheers, and comment break. And Laura says, a little bit cooler sounds great. Again, that'll be late next week. We'll see that here in just a second. JK's can't stay now, but I will watch this later. Have a great one. Thanks for watching the replay. And thank you, whoever you might be. Drop in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from if you're watching the replay this afternoon or later on tonight. It's fun to see those numbers go up. You know, even a day later, some people are popping it. So Angela Epperson, good morning. Have an awesome day. Love football. Can't wait. So we might have to make a football background for the play ball forecast. Wendy Davis, happy Thursday to you. And cheers to you, Angela Epperson. Thanks for watching here this morning. All right, back to the forecast. How many days until? So I've just updated this morning. You're before 8 p.m. sunsets in 20 days. It's creeping up quick. Autumn begins in 39 days. That is September 22nd, the autumnal equinox, when the sun's direct rays are right over the equator. And also, equinox means equal day and night. So you've got 12 hours a night, 12 hours a day. which means our days are getting shorter as well. Average highs in the 70s in 41 days, average highs in the 60s, that's October 19th, in 66 days. A couple months away from average highs in the 60s. And so if you're tired of the heat, we've got an August heat wave on the way. Again, we just got to wait it out a little bit. UV index, very high level of 9 today, so don't forget the shade and the sunscreen out there. And an update on the allergy report. Don't show this too often, but we are starting to creep up with the weed pollen. You got nettle, I think it's called plantain, and then ragweed is going to start to explode here very soon too. Today's forecast for your August the 14th, a high of 90 degrees. Normal heat, mainly dry. Again, just giving it about a 10% chance of that shower today. Just a very light and variable wind. Our sunset at 8:37. And the forecast tonight with some foggy spots possible. You may saw a little valley fog this morning. Same kind of deal for tomorrow morning. So it shouldn't be a huge problem for us. And the sun up almost at 7 a.m. So the sunrises are getting a little bit later too at 6:58. Laura's saying birthday and anniversary are in October. That's a great month for both, especially around here. Friday, tomorrow's forecast for your August the 15th, 75 out the door, 88 at noon. Kind of tolerable heat and humidity, 92 degrees. Intolerable heat and humidity this weekend. Normal high is 89, so a few above that. 70 our normal low. Our sunrise again at 6:58 and setting at 8:36 tomorrow. 7-day forecast. Got a lot of sunshine through the weekend. Should be primarily dry across the area, going mid-90s, heat index around 100 plus, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, lows in the mid-70s. If you're in the concrete areas, the asphalt, the downtown spots, you might even add a couple degrees to that. 95 next Tuesday, still mostly dry. I think we're going to start to get a front to move in Wednesday, Thursday next week. That should give us a rain chance and then gradually start to drop off the humidity. So I think maybe just a tad cooler Wednesday with that chance of some showers and thunderstorms as that front approaches. Front moves south Thursday. That should start to drop off the humidity and drop us back into the 80s and maybe a couple leftover showers Thursday. So that's the initial first wave of a little bit of relief. I think the bigger relief will come the following week. Again, that's going to be around August the 25th. 10/18. That means we are about ready to dig into the weather models and start to map this stuff out. So it is fun to look at the weather models. The weather model, what are they? They are mathematics, millions of math problems and physics into computer systems that pump out the numbers, and you change those numbers into maps. And so a lot of this data we'll be looking at together for the first time and analyzing it. And then we'll dig into the longer range outlook here for us. So it might be feeling a little bit more like fall to wrap up August, which would be great. And we had a great start to August as well. We had some of that relief the first weekend of August. All right, here we go. We're moving right along here. So let me get rid of that. Let me bring this back up. And we're looking at a live look here at a little cumulus cloud there near the locks and dam and over the falls of the Ohio. Let me get rid of that, by the way, and start to bring up the data. Also, you've got this tropical storm Aaron out here that's going to turn into a hurricane, major hurricane likely, and stay off of the East Coast is the official forecast, and where pretty much all the weather models are showing it going. And then there's this little guy down here. This is called an invest, little feature here to the west of the Yucatan Peninsula. That might impact parts of northeastern Mexico, maybe southern Texas. But for us, as we zoom in, I'll try not to make you dizzy as I zoom in here. The only closest little tiny showers here west of Bowling Green. Most areas are sunny as we take a look at the current conditions across the area. Real quick, we'll look at the baseline. So you know what it feels like out there. We have dew points in the 70s. We talk about this quite a bit. So this is our dew point map. And so everything from the Great Plains east is, you know, summer wet heat. And there's a comedian on Netflix that has a special out right now that just came out called Wet Heat. I find them pretty funny. We're having a good time, if you know who that is. West of the Rockies, you got desert air. Sorry, I'm cracking myself up here. I think his name's Dusty. Check him out on Netflix. He's funny. So dew point 73. It actually feels better. Look at this. If you are in Indianapolis, the northern half of Indiana, you have dew points in the 60s. You have a different feel of air up your way. We are more tropical here in southern Indiana and Kentucky with our dew points here in the 70s, which is not extreme. I mean, we had dew points in the upper 70s, which that's what they have down here in Florida and the Gulf Coast. That's just way more tropical there. But there is slightly drier air up around I-70 and north. We're just not getting that. And bringing up the current temps across the area as well. Starting to warm up throughout the region. Look at that, Jacksonville already at 86, 88 in Miami already. That's kind of like what we had in July. We've got 81 now in Louisville. So upper 70s, low 80s in most locations right now. So that is what is happening at time 0. Now we're going to look ahead to the future radar. And if you watch the program Monday through Friday, we typically start off with the HRRR high resolution rapid refresh weather model, the HRRR weather model. And then we'll look at the NAM 3 kilometer. It's not going to show much today. I am way more interested in the relief that we see down the road. And Laura saying, how long will the cool down last next week? So I think that's a good question, Laura, because I think the cool down is going to be a little cool down, brief, maybe for a couple days late next week. Then it kind of gets a little more humid ahead of a front that may give us some rain maybe around Sunday or so. And then the following Monday, the 25th, that could be a long-lasting weather pattern change, a gift from Canada, so to speak, where we might have longer-lasting relief for the last week of August. Kind of what the long-range data is showing so far. We've got a good morning from Sulphur, Indiana. Good morning to you, Mary. Cheers. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for dropping in the comments there. Now, let's go ahead and look ahead here with the HRRR weather model. Let's see if anything pops up. Oh, there's a little thing. That's at 2 o'clock. Now, will that happen right there? Probably not. Like, it's just showing that there's a chance at some isolated location, there might be a little isolated pop-up. That's why I went 10% chance for today. This is at 3 o'clock. And it looks like, if you notice, nothing pops up over southern Indiana. Kentucky, a little better chance, that 10% chance, mostly in Kentucky. This is around 5 o'clock. There is not much out there. We actually have a little bit of some dry air coming in that will prevent storm development for today. Not dry air at the surface, I would like to say. This would be more towards the upper levels of the atmosphere, mid-levels, upper levels. So take a look at this. So this is the precipitable water. It takes into account the surface, but also throughout the depth of the atmosphere. And so this is right now. You can see it is way more tropical throughout the depth of the atmosphere down south. I just love the look of the colors with the precipitable water and how well it like delineates tropical from less tropical air. So this is at 4 p.m. today. Now, I wish I could say that this would be like really refreshing air. Let's look at this. Let's do a little analysis real quick. So that looks nice, right? This looks really, really nice. And now for northern half of Indiana, that would be refreshing. Tropical air down here. This is for this afternoon, by the way. The problem is at the surface, we still have the mugginess. This is reflecting some dry air coming in at the higher levels. So what that's going to do is kind of cut off our rain chances for today. That's kind of the function of that layer of dry air. Now, I do believe, again, late next week, we'll start to see some drier air at the surface as well. Oops, Still making drawings here. Let me erase that. So that's the precipitable water out there. Again, I like how just high resolution this looks, showing the water amount. So the precipitable water, by the way, it takes the column of the atmosphere. You're looking at the total amount of moisture, water content, H2O, that if you had a system that could give you some precipitation, it would wring out the atmosphere, and that's how much rain you could get. So you can see that the atmosphere is more water loaded over the south and southeast, and then much drier to the north. Okay, let's go back to the NAM 3 kilometer. As we saw with the HRRR weather model, it only showed like a little tiny chance of a pop-up shower today. We're going back to the reflectivity here on our August 14th. It is 10:26 a.m. when we start to dig into the weather models. And of course, if you have any weather questions, just drop them in the comments. Don't be shy there. I agree with you, Laura, here. Putting in my order for not too cold, but upper 70s, low 80s, low humidity would be nice. I agree. And again, maybe we'll start to see that the last week of August. This is at 3 o'clock with the NAM 3 kilometer. It really isn't showing anything. Can we get a single little pop-up shower? Maybe late afternoon. It's trying to develop some cumulus clouds that might grow big enough. Once again, it shows Louisville with this teeny tiny chance of a late afternoon evening shower. So again, that's why we got the 10% chance today. Most locations staying dry. And this is here towards sunset. Not much happening with that. Okay, so now we are going to start to talk about the long range data, and it's going to be a treat because we actually get to talk about good stuff here. And when we talk about the far out weather model data, this is what it means. All right, hopefully I don't fall off that branch there. All right, we're looking at the long range data, and we're going to bring up the GFS weather model. And before I do that, I'm going to bring up the Climate Prediction Center, the CPC. This is the 6 to 10 day outlook. We like that, right? So this is looking just past this, right around the end of the 7-day forecast. And it is showing this little wedge of cooler air trying to move into our area. We're right on the line. We're right on the line. And then a heat wave getting pushed out to the west. That would be late next week. So we're trying to get that little wedge of cooler air, drier air to drop our direction. So late next week with that time frame there from the Climate Prediction Center. And then as we bring up the 8 to 14 day outlook, that's what we're talking about. So this is a reflection, I would say, of the European weather model, the GFS weather model, and the data that I've seen this morning, that last week of August, that shows above normal chances of below normal temperatures. And for Laura popping in the comments, that would mean maybe some upper 70s, low 80s to finish off August. That's the good news that we're looking for. Now, so don't be surprised here. This is the Storm Prediction Center's day one severe weather outlook. That would be up in northern Minnesota and eastern South Dakota. And then day two, almost no risk of severe weather. There's just not much happening. This is not severe weather season. And you don't see this very often. Day three has no risk of severe weather over the continental United States from coast to coast and border to border. It is very quiet out there. All right, bringing back up the weather model data, the future radar, but actually I'm going to switch this over to first to look at the temperatures and the heat wave that is on the way for today. Oops, let me pick the model first. I know people pop in at different times in the weather show, so we will get back to the forecast here right after we look at the weather, break down the weather model data. So this is today. this afternoon. And it shows, again, pretty normal heat, nothing too crazy, upper 80s, low 90s around the area, around the region. But hot weather for much of the United States. So you're looking at heat index values hotter, obviously off to the south. Getting into our Friday tomorrow, the 15th. Still not, crazy heat. Low 90s, heat index mid 90s for our Friday. And then as we get into Saturday, the heat begins to build across the area. This is going to be the 16th. Getting hotter. And we go into the 17th. I think I've got on the 17th Sunday, I've got like a high of around 96. So an August heat wave for us for this weekend. And it's putting your heat index values around 100 or so. So there we go. Getting through a heat wave this weekend. I'm going to push this to Tuesday the 19th because nothing is changing here. So we're still looking pretty hot all across the region. There you can see triple-digit heat index numbers into early next week. Hot stuff all around the region. So this is the heat wave that really kicks in. I would say normal heat tomorrow, but then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, heat wave, mid-90s, heat index or around 100 or above. So kind of a 4-day heat wave. Now we need to get into Wednesday, or I would call Wednesday maybe our day of change on the 20th. This is when we start to see this front moving into the region. So this shows the change on the way. This would be our transition day. As this front drops into the region, it should give us a chance of rain and then eventually some cooler temperatures as well. So there you can see, obviously much cooler to the north and starting to look a little bit better. It really is just kind of from north to south, the transition day of starting to feel better across the area. So this is, again, a week from now, next Wednesday, Thursday is what we're looking at for that potential relief on the way. Now, Thursday, the 21st. There you can see that front. Can we get the front to move through? That's the big question here. So it's kind of just like that. And look at these numbers. So a lot of the Hoosier State looking a lot better. Question how far south we can get this cool air to move. Notice the Commonwealth, Kentucky, staying a bit hotter. So Thursday, now take into account, so you got the temperature drop, yes. But what about the drier air, which makes a whole huge difference across the region? Oops. Clear that out. So not a huge drop in that drier air next Thursday. You see the real dry air, as I back up our view here, still off to the north. So we need that to drop in over us. So I'm going to go to the 22nd. So that would start to take us into next Friday, the 22nd. Still looking a little bit humid across the area, not crazy humidity, dew points in the 60s. That's going to feel a whole lot better, again, late next week if we can get that dry air to drop in. Now, as I mentioned, I think that relief comes in a couple stages. Little relief late next week, bigger relief the following week. So let me take you to like next Sunday, Monday. So that would be 24th into the 25th of August. So this is the 24th. This is a more significant front that the Euro, the Canadian, and the GFS are showing for the last week of August, 24th, 25th. So we might still have that humidity over the area next weekend as well. But then as we go to Monday, can we get it to move through? This is the 25th. And there you go. That would be what we're looking for right there. That would be a game changer, a weather pattern change, huge, big time. Dew points in the 40s and 50s. That is the fall-like air that you might see all over Facebook over the next week and a half or so. You're going to see maps flying around Facebook with big blobs of blue and everything. That's because of this right here, August 25th. That's the timing right now. Certainly that is subject to change. And again, we're right in the middle of our Ben on a Limb segment. And meaning that it is subject to change. So we're just looking at some good news here. And as we bring up the apparent temperature next week, or like, actually, I'm just going to bring up the regular temperature. So this would be, I mean, I don't think we're going to get that cool, but that's like late September, early October, fall feeling air. I'm going to bring this up full screen. Let you feast your eyes on there. So that's 5 p.m. That would be your high temperatures Monday, August the 25th. So today's the 14th. So we're looking at like 11 days from now. And again, we're going to play this day by day, and we're going to see if this will stay consistent. If it does, the confidence in this big time relief goes up. And again, I just like the visual of the precipitable water because it just shows you the dramatic change. Look at that. Canadian air winning the battle last week of August. Boom, there you go. This is all good stuff right there. I don't know why he has his tongue out, but he's got his tongue out. Mr. Happy Face has got his tongue out. And we're about to wrap up. There we go. Happy stuff. About to wrap up the long range outlook, and we'll get to your forecast once again here in just a second. All right, so let me get rid of this. So that's your good news. Last week of August. Got to get through a heat wave this weekend into early next week. Big time change there. Now, one more update that I want to show you is the tropics. What's happening in the tropics? Do you have a vacation coming up? Will it be impacted? So we're going to look over here. We have Tropical Storm Erin pretty far away. There's the forecast track. There's the cone of uncertainty from the National Hurricane Center. And then these are the weather models. So here pretty soon will likely become a Category 1 hurricane. So this right there, it shows it as a Category 1. I don't think it puts the date on there, which is frustrating. Next day or so. And then Category 3 is it's north of Puerto Rico. So if you're looking at this map, here's Puerto Rico. Here's Dominican Republic and Haiti. And then you got Cuba right here. Here's the Bahamas. So it should stay east of the Bahamas as well. So this is here's the track of the hurricane. Hurricane Erin. That should be the first major hurricane of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. Then it shifts to the north. It stays off of the Atlantic coast, the United States coast. I was trying to find Bermuda in here. I can't see it. Perhaps impacting Bermuda, but that should be about it as it stays over the open waters. And then you've got this, what's called an invest, little low pressure system, 20% chance of tropical development. It's just a little area of low pressure out here in the southwestern Gulf, heading towards northeastern Mexico and southern Texas, perhaps over the next few days. So that's it right now. We will be heading into the peak of hurricane season over the next month. Actually, 1 month from now is the peak of hurricane season. So that's that air in the tropics. All right, let me bring back the forecast here for you. And we'll start to wrap up our Ben at 10 show. Got a few comments also popping in. Let me get a little comment break. Mary Dale says, that looks great. Definitely looking forward to that. The late August relief is what we're talking about. Lillian Lasley also says that looks good. And Laura's vacation to the Smoky Mountains second week of September. So hopefully that cooler weather pattern change will last. As we know, it can get hot in September as well. We've had highs in the hundreds in September too. But hopefully we'll have a nice change to this hot weather pattern. But mostly dry today. Again, if you were watching earlier, the high-resolution weather models did not show very much out there today. So most areas are going to stay dry, just giving it about a 10% chance late afternoon. Hotter this weekend, mid-90s, heat index around 100 or above, and then that relief late next week, and then bigger relief for the following week around August 25th. Your play ball forecast, again, let me know if you want a different background here, whether it be football or tennis or cross country. Let me know. Feel free to send your grandchild or child's picture of them doing some sports, and we can put it back here too. And the way to do that is you can just email me, ben@extolmag.com, and we can show them off on the program. So just kind of hot, mostly dry today. This is that cool air advection that we're talking about next Thursday. We should get a little respite from the extreme heat and humidity late next week. We've got the Knobs Fest happening this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, St. Mary of the Knobs. Always a rocking good time up there. They've got 5:30 p.m. to midnight Saturday. This Saturday, select games and pull tabs, live music, the Juicebox Heroes, beer garden, food trucks, gambling, Big Six, blackjack, tethered hot air balloons. On Sunday, 11 to 3, you've got the famous chicken dinner, kids zone, games of chance, games of skill, pull tabs, raffle drawings, food, and ice cream. So a lot going on up there in the Knobs. And then the Kentucky State Fair begins tomorrow through next week. Very hot this weekend, should feel better the following weekend. So how many days before 8 p.m. sunsets? Just 20 days away. Fall begins a little over a month, September 22nd. Average highs drop to the 70s in 41 days. And in a couple months or just after that, our average highs drop to the 60s right around October 19th. UV index up to a very high level of 9 for today. And the allergy report, moderate to high as we ramp up the weed pollen season. Your forecast summary today for your August 14th, 90 degrees, normal heat, mostly dry, light and variable wind, sunset at 8:37. Some foggy spots possible overnight, early tomorrow morning with a low of 74. And then tomorrow's forecast, we're frying on our Friday here, 92 degrees, but kind of normal heat, not extreme until this weekend with 95, 96 Saturday, Sunday. Lows in the mid-70s, 96 on Monday, 95 Tuesday. So maybe, knock on wood, cross our fingers, this will be our last heat wave of the summer. Can't promise that. We have that front moving in the middle of next week. That'll give us a rain chance and a little bit of a cool down, maybe a little bit drier heading into next weekend. And then the following week, we talked a lot about it, August 25th and beyond. We might get that more significant fall-like relief on the way. So there you go. That is the big forecast. Son and hubby going golfing early Sunday. I'd like to do that as well. So early is the key for golf on Sunday, as it is going to be a scorcher, as we just saw. And anytime you want, if you've got a big garage sale in your area, you've got a festival, you've got an event, you've got a concert, community concert, feel free to drop it in the comments. Love to pop up what's happening in your area. So feel free to do that at any point in time. And as we wrap things up here, just going to look at what's happening outside. Whoops. There we go. There's a live look at the Falls of the Ohio Foundation.org camera here at 10:45 a.m. So things are quiet there along the riverfront. Just a few of those friendly little cumulus clouds growing a little bit bigger. A reminder here, as always, your weather resources for Southern Indiana and beyond. You can see my live stream is up here on extolmag.com/weather. You've got your interactive radar you can play with right there. We started at 73. We're now at 81 with the current temperature. You've got your 3-day forecast. You have your 7-day forecast. Weather story that goes into more details with what's happening weather-wise across the area. Current Indiana weather and traffic, if you ever want to pull that up. You've got your NDOT cameras here. And if you ever just want to pop them up, you just click on the camera, it brings it up right there. So that is a look there at 265 and Grant Line Road. These will be fun to watch as we head towards the snow season and we check out what's happening on the roadways. So there is a look at that. Things are quiet there on 265. And then back to extolmag.com/weather. There's your big full screen interactive radar. If you just scroll down a little bit more, again, there's nothing happening around our region. You can plop on temperatures and winds and all that fun stuff. But there you can see those temperatures have been climbing as I've been talking this morning as we head into the 80s over most of the area right now. Shout out again to our partners here. We can be here because of them and because of you. Equal partnership all around. LionsRoofingCo.com. Go here. You can get a free estimate. You can learn about Lions Roofing, family-owned company right out of Memphis, Indiana. They got you covered in Southern Indiana, of course, but over in Kentucky as well. Both sides of the river, 812-294-3595. That is Lions, Lyons Roofing. And so give them a shout if you need some roof protection, roof repairs, a new roof, whatever it might be. Perhaps you've had storm damage. And I recommend to you American Family Insurance, specifically Michael Long. Proud to be an American Star certified agency, excellence in customer service. Tell him I sent you. You can see 163 reviews here. He gives back to the community in Southern Indiana, 812-578-3072. And he'll have you covered on whatever policy you might be looking at. Maybe you just want a new quote. Give him a shout. Let him know that I sent you. If you need an opportunity, if you have a family member that needs an opportunity, libspavingco.com. These are all the job openings. You can click on one of them. So this prep foreman. You've got project manager, superintendent. You just click on learn more, and then you can apply there online. Family-owned company out of the Knobs, largest asphalt paving contractor around the region. You can level up your career as well at ivytech.edu. Click on locations, head to Sellersburg. Their fall sessions are August 25th, so you got some time to sign up for that. And as I mentioned earlier, the ETC program is brand new, the nation's first, the Enlisted Training Corps program. So that is this fall. It is free to students, by the way. And if you take that course, you're going to learn about public service and about military service. And if you graduate with your associates, you can be enlisted into the Army, into the military at an E4 level. That is a 30% bump right off the bat compared to standard enlistment. So that is a brand new program in connection with the United States Army and also the National Guard. Of course, they have many other programs here, 42 programs offered and counting. Tuesdays at the Tech, where you can get one-on-one information, help with financial aid, and learn about all the partnerships that they have, really powering the workforce in Indiana and Kentucky here with Ivy Tech. So thanks to, again, all of our partners here. And thanks for tuning in here this morning as well. Whether you're watching on my Facebook page, Meteorologist Ben Peine, P-E-I-N-E, or maybe you're tuning in on Extol Weather on Facebook. Thanks for liking or subscribing. Extol Media on YouTube and extolmag.com/weather online. Still get some questions to this day. There is the correct spelling, P-E-I-N-E. All right. One last comment. Alberta Philpott with a good morning. We're going to wrap it up right there. We will see you for your Friday edition, August the 15th, right in the middle of August, Ben at 10 tomorrow morning. So we'll see you same time and same place. Have a great rest of your week and weekend. Thanks for watching.